evening, weirdos, and welcome to the Halloween edition of Livin Cruddy. I'm your host, Handsome Jimmy, joined as always by Mr. Gino Royd and the sexy and fabulous Vinny Scramble-I'm-a-Ding-Dongs. Today we're doing things a little different. We're going to interrupt your fucking movie constantly and make you listen to people.
For those of you who don't hear fried ass, that was Jimmy introducing the show. This is the Livin Cruddy Halloween special. We're going to be doing some cool stuff tonight. We're going to talk to a bunch of people, hopefully, and we're going to be hosting a movie, and that movie is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Massacre.
Get it on!
So how's it going, Bo?
Oh, Scrooby, everything's wonderful here. Columbia's a nice place. You ought to come visit sometime. We got mules. We got donkeys. We got chickens.
What's the difference between a donkey and a mule?
Donkey and a mule. Well, there's a little surgical procedure, I believe, that turns one into the other. I ain't really for sure. I try not to get involved in these sorts of things because they make me uncomfortable downstairs. You know?
I thought one of them had some horse meat in it.
Horse meat.
Are you taking off that fucking thing, Jimmy?
What do you mean?
All right, Bo. So what do you think about the movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh, it's an absolute classic. I tell you what, if I could run around wearing somebody else's face, I surely would.
When was the first time you saw that movie?
Oh, my goodness. That would have to been long about 1980. I'm going to go with 84.
Now, how'd you see it? Was it just to go to the theater? That would have been the earliest days of VCR.
Absolutely. VHS.
Oh, you saw it on VHS.
Always, forever.
I saw it around that same time, but it was at a drive-in. That early, I don't think we had any VHS down there.
We didn't have no drive-ins. It was too cold.
And where were you, Alaska?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Well, they had like a month-long drive-in season up there, right?
Maybe a month and a half.
Month and a half?
Month and a half.
I bet it was the best month and a half of...
It went out of business after about 2 years because, you know what, it's kind of hard to support a family on a month and a half income unless you're doing a little something on the side. You know what I'm talking about?
This is already a fucking train wreck.
You're right.
Fortunately, it's going to be short. Very short.
It'll be
Yeah,
short.
we can always count on you for that.
That's right.
At the beginning of the movie, what we'll be showing right around there, if Bo goes first, we'll be kicking into the beginning of the movie where the movie starts off with the guys riding in a van. Well, actually, they end up at the graveyard where they've heard that one of the characters' grandpa or somebody was...
In that scene, notice Sally getting out of the van and somebody turned the air conditioner on. Yeah.
I don't know why you would say that.
I remember watching this on Christmas Day when I got it for as a Christmas present, and that's the first thing my grandfather saw was, look at her tits.
Titties.
Both.
So they're in the van, they go to the graveyard, and they're on their way to a house that they used to live in, and they stop at the gas station, and they find that the gas station is weird.
That's some good barbecue.
Is Jimmy going to say anything tonight?
I'm trying to figure out what the fucking format here is.
He's never seen the movie.
I've seen it.
How many times?
What do you think of it?
3 times, probably. The first time I saw it, it scarred me emotionally, and I loved it. I was probably 14, maybe.
And then what happened? Did it change?
After I saw it. Are you going to ask Bo any fun Halloween-y type questions? Like, what the fuck goes on in back-ass Columbia on Halloween?
That's a good question. I don't know why you wouldn't just ask him that directly.
I just did.
You said, why don't you ask him that?
What goes on in back-ass Columbia on Halloween?
Well, you know, if I told you, I'd have to have you over to the house.
Kind of far.
I'm not sure we'd like that.
Columbia.
Put up all the spooky lights. I got skeletones and ghosts and things in the windows and all in the living room, you know.
Is that a spooky heart behind you? What is that? What's that shape?
That's some crap that is strung across the door. See, I got sparkly skeletons and some orange lights, and you can see my little ghosties whizzing past the window because I got projectors.
Oh, that's a ghost. I thought it was King Kong punching somebody.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
King Kong punching Godzilla's balls.
Hey, guys, that was a great hootenanny you did.
Yeah, thanks. It was amazing, and nothing bad happened at all, and everything went perfectly.
Too bad that
It was
girl
really
pissed
good,
terrible.
except Jimmy got drunk.
How about Vinny getting thrown out for being a bouncer and throwing his colostomy bag? That was great.
Yeah. I thought we had a show the Friday before Halloween.
Is it that Friday before Halloween?
It is.
We can do this on Saturday then, whatever.
Just, Gene, if you were paying attention earlier, you would have heard we had a show the Friday before Halloween.
That's rich. That's fucking rich, considering I'm the only one that books fucking anything. Jimmy's going to book a show at some point.
Yeah, probably.
Before he's old and gray, and he will have booked his band in Rochester that doesn't even really exist like 19 fucking times, and then he'll...
I don't book that shit either. You kidding me?
I'm pretty sure you've booked some of that.
No fucking way. I don't know anybody up there anymore.
Well, you know somebody here, right? You can help book something.
No, I don't know anybody here either. I'm a hermit. I stay home all the time.
Well, Jimmy owns a big marketing firm, and I'm shocked that he hasn't hired the band to play a show at his event.
Fuck, man.
Right. At our next corporate retreat.
Or Jelly Roll or whatever the fuck his name is.
Hey, he used to live in the neighborhood, 2 streets over.
What? Really? That guy?
He used to live here in McKay's Mill. My wife used to see him out walking all the time with his bodyguard, because just in
Back
case.
when it was Jam Roll.
Yeah.
You had a American Idol chick over there as well, right? What was her name?
Yeah, Melinda Doolittle also.
Melinda Doolittle. Yeah, I used to see her all the time at the Publix over there.
Is her dad a doctor and talks to fucking animals?
Nobody has to wait with animals.
I'll fucking kill you.
Little animals.
Well, we've asked Bo about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Can we come up with, on the fly, something you can ask everybody?
Yes, I just did, and he didn't bother to answer the question. It said he did his Bill Clinton shtick. So what happens in Colombia? Are they allowed to trick or treat, or is that too satanic?
No, we like trick-or-treaters. I actually have horses come out in my front yard every year.
He's not going to cooperate.
Give them treats. I do. It's true. Absolutely.
Somehow I think it is true.
It's true. We got horses, buggies, Amish. Everybody loves Halloween.
This year on Halloween, what are you going as?
I'm going to sit right here in my skivvies, scare little kids.
You're already scaring little kids through this fucking video.
Yep.
Well, mission accomplished. You have been warned. Don't come to my house.
How about this? Your ideal 2 Halloween movies, if you're just going to hang out at the house and watch flicks, what would those 2 films be?
Debbie Does Dallas.
I assume one would have Vincent Price.
Beyond the Green Door. Evil Dead 2. Something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you could show that, that'd be something else.
That would be great.
That'd be great.
Never seen it.
Fantastic.
What is the craziest Halloween memory you have as like a teenager?
I got nothing. Now, if you remember it, you wasn't really there.
That's right.
All right, we're going to have to grade our guests at the end of this.
There you go.
Is that a chicken?
Yep, 2 chickens. 2 chickens, no waiting.
All right, well, it's time to say goodbye to Bo.
All right, well, cock-a-doodle-doo, everybody. Peace and love.
I love you, Bo.
Love you, too.
Don't forget to tune in on whatever night this airs.
Tune in, turn on, and drop out. All right, then.
Me. Right.
You just wait till you come to town. I'm going to slap your ass. I got nothing. Bye-bye.
McNasty.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Nothing.
All right, then. Super.
That's the end of the interview.
They're just
They're
done.
dead.
They're
They're
dead.
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 That mask made of bacon?
All right, welcome McNasty to the show.
Hey, thanks very much.
He was going to tell us how much he hates Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Thomas Dolby.
Yeah, that actually looks really good. The mask is a little
Yeah.
thinner in the front, but it's harder to keep them. There we go.
So, McNasty, that was really fucked up what you did at the Hootenanny, man. God, I can't believe you did that.
I don't know what he was thinking, but he'll regret that forever.
What are you referring to?
You know what you did.
You remember 2 weeks ago at the Hootenanny?
Oh, that.
Next time somebody suggests wearing yellow plastic clear underpants,
Just say no.
you might want to think twice.
Yeah, that was not my suggestion. I was just going along with it.
But you were right on it. You were like, hell yeah, let's do that. Aroused even.
It was gross. I apologize.
All right, so what we're doing here, you're guest number 3 on this Halloween special. We're hosting a movie, and we're cutting in between the scenes of the film. Tonight's movie is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's one of the greatest movies ever.
When did you first see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh, geez. Probably 7th grade, maybe? So somewhere 85-ish?
And what was your impression?
It was... I loved it.
But were you traumatized by it, or was it just a hoot and you went home and...
No, I thought it was great, Not traumatized by it at all.
Who's your favorite character in it?
I have to say probably the hitchhiker was probably like my initial favorite character in it.
Yeah, he's good. He's one of a few that do a really good job in that. Everybody does, really, but only a few of them actually have to act, and he's one of them.
Yeah.
That guy, when you first meet him, when he gets in the van and does the whole, photograph bit, that's when you're in for an entirely different movie than anything else you've ever seen before.
I love his little dance when the van drives away, and he's like,
Oh, yeah. And why? What the hell? Why didn't they want him back for the second movie? I love Bill Moseley.
He's too expensive.
He's not going to be as good as that guy.
But I seem to remember Edwin Neal saying that if he ever saw Toby Hooper again, he'd fucking kill him. So
that could be
basically what Dugan was saying. Well, it's weird. It was Jim Sidow's the one that they brought back. You have to bring him back, but man, they're like a cast of characters that worked really well together.
Hitchhiker got ran over. He's dead. Apparently, Chop Top's his brother, who was in Nam at the time. It's all explained in this book right here. Well,
look at that.
If you had to pick two movies, if you're just going to hang out and watch movies on Halloween, what would those two flicks be?
Evil Dead 2 and probably Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's gotten several votes so far.
Yeah.
You get Bo to commit to much. So.
But Gino, what about you? What two films, would you say?
Night of the Living Dead is essential. It's like the Halloween movie. I kind of like the Trick or Treat movie, the newer one, because it shows such a kind of cool. What about you, Vinny?
It's Night of the Living Dead and Halloween 1978.
The Halloween 1978 is perfect, but I probably will have already seen that before. I just have to watch that as soon as it's like fucking ready to roll. So to get into the vibe of the subsequent.
What's Jimmy?
Well, Jimmy's got a fiction for you though.
On LSD right now.
Chris. Sorry. McNasty.
What?
What's your craziest, most spooky, quasi-paranormal Halloween memory?
Don't know that I've had one.
Fucking make one up.
Okay, there was this one time getting married at a haunted house. Me and my wife got married at a haunted house, so that would be my favorite Halloween memory.
Well, there you have it.
I remember that. I think I was there.
I believe I was there.
You were there. You were taking pictures.
Was Jimmy there? Jimmy was there?
Jimmy was there, yeah.
You were there. No, that was early.
Thanks for remembering.
I remember having to get up early and drive up there. It was weird going to a haunted house in the morning.
Yeah.
But they had Bloody Marys.
All right, the last question we have for you. Do you have any particular paranormal type experiences that have occurred to you that you would like to share?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Nothing that you can't even explain, or
no, nothing.
Something that was weird and bad that almost happened to you, but you
outside of maybe falling asleep or dozing off behind the wheel of a car late at night.
I don't think that's technically paranormal.
Paranormal? No.
Well, since Chris doesn't have one, I'll tell you my brief paranormal story. Anybody can ask. I don't have belief in any of that kind of shit, really. But I do have a thing that happened about 10 years ago that I cannot explain. Was it a dream? I don't know. But we were up in Banff, Canada, which is outside. It's the mountain range outside Calgary. I was in the Banff Fairmont Hotel. We had just gotten the room there, and I was out overlooking the area, which was like a restaurant, outdoor restaurant, and then like some fields, and then some huge mountains and all kind of crazy stuff. It was a day that had just hit like a huge amount of storms, but that had cleared out. And I was watching the people milling about down there in this little garden area. It was a huge, you could see for 70 miles from this one room. And there was this little white ball, maybe twice the size of a ping pong ball. And it was just zipping around where these people were. And by the time it dawned on me that I was looking at some little white ball, it had made a full circle and came right back at me in the hotel, went through the window beyond me and went up into the light bulb that was in the ceiling and popped on the light bulb, and then that was the end of it. And I'm not lying. I'm not the type to even start bullshitting about weird paranormal events, but that shit definitely happened. And when I've told people about it since, people say, oh, it probably ball lightning, which is something apparently that happens. It doesn't explain the thing coming in through the window and going into the light bulb and blowing out the fucking bulb.
I would file that in a weird file. Maybe I'm just not paying attention to like weird shit that happens. It's just like, weird shit that happens, I
don't look for it.
How about you, Jimmy?
No, I don't know. Nothing happens to me.
A ghost try to touch your pee-pee?
No, that's not it. A priest did, but not a ghost.
It was just last week, too.
What part of the film that are we in right now that we're cutting into?
We're probably at the point where they discover the house and go onto the property and go in and see the chickens and the bones and all that shit. Yeah. Somewhere in that area. Great scene, great looking stuff.
And the meat hook.
All right.
Meat hook.
The meat hook.
Meat hook.
One of the meat hooks, yes.
Meat hook.
And the meat hook.
He says racist shit to me all the time, so that's why I was thinking you meant me.
Bring me my tostadas. So I think that we have Clown Jimmy, Devil Vinny, and our special guest, THNDRKNT.
THNDRKNT. That's right. Whee!
Applause from these two cooks.
He's just rocking to console himself.
So Bo Dinski was a total fucking train wreck.
Okay, can I be train wreck too?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be a train wreck. I was born a train wreck.
Well, we decided that we're going to show the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we're going to use this to host around that. I happen to know that Thunder is a big fan of this film, even though she's not a huge fan of all the other shit that we watched, as we talked about earlier.
This is my favorite film of all time.
There you go.
Because I was raised in a house that looks exactly like that house, including all the dead animals in it.
Well, tell us about the dead animals.
It was beyond what you would consider normal adornment of a house. I mean, it was not just decorations. Obviously, somebody had a fixation with death. Paired well with the bazooka we also had on the wall.
Oh, that's important. If you're going to kill the animals somehow.
Right?
What kind of animals are we talking about?
Oh, God. There was deer. We had a raccoon, squirrel, possum.
Oh, the usual stuff.
Yeah, I know it's the usual stuff. Yeah, it was definitely like most dangerous game kind of house. You know, not alarming at all. Loved bringing my friends over.
We're also traumatized.
We know that Thunder loves the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What was the first time you saw it, and how did it impact you then?
I actually saw it at a drive-in. This would have been, I don't know, mid-'80s probably. So I was young.
The 1880s?
Yeah, the 1880s.
Oh, okay.
It terrified me, but it fascinated me at the same time because I'm like, oh, that looks like home, the house, you know? And we had our resident weirdos. We didn't quite have Leatherface, but we had some nuts. No, it stuck with me totally. I mean, something about the composition of it, the way it was shot, it was far away, then zoom close scary, and does that repeatedly throughout the whole film. And it really has this destabilizing, terrifying, but that's how my life was. So, I mean, everything about it just fit right in.
Who played the Franklin character in your version of Texas Chainsaw?
In my home version of Texas Chainsaw?
She said the setting was familiar, not necessarily
the setting, not necessarily
yeah.
all the people. Quite honestly, guys, I was the Franklin. Exactly. Pissed off about everything. Nobody could make me happy.
That's the one thing that strikes me about Texas Chainsaw. Every time I see it is how real that guy appears.
I don't know if you remember when Leatherface starts collecting people, like he encounters the initial victims, but these people keep coming in his house. And there's this moment of, you can see this like sheer panic, like, where the hell are they coming from? And that was something really identifiable. Like I just really identified with that. Got a no soliciting sign. What the fuck?
Stay out of my pit.
Exactly.
The other thing, obviously, was the big tin door.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever encountered a house that had one of those.
Did yours have one, Thunder?
No, we didn't have that. We had a...
Okay, good.
Yeah, we had... That's something you would see like in a place where they butcher animals, right? Yep. No, oddly enough, we didn't have that. But we did have this cavernous stone basement. That was scary as shit.
So if you, aside from Texas shit, we asked Bo what his two Halloween preferred movies to watch if you're just hanging out on Halloween watching flicks. I'm assuming Texas Chainsaw would be one on. What would be the other one?
The Exorcist. I mean, that's one of my favorites. It will be forever. I've made this mistake repeatedly of watching it by myself at night alone somewhere. And getting really fucking freaked out and having to call people and be really embarrassed that I did that thing again.
So those are your jams. Those are your top two jams, I assume.
Those are. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even
Jimmy's
have that
haircut. Look, his hair's shorter this time.
With the Halloween decor, this is all like the obvious vice that people don't feel threatened by whatsoever. Jimmy, on the other hand, he's the sleeper. He's the one you really got to watch out for. I am seriously terrified by the pea grain wall. Because I'm like, this guy's trying to pretend to be normal. I bet he's got a lot of neutral in his house.
I have a coconut monkey.
What's his name?
Do you have a coconut monkey?
Got McNasty there, I see.
My McNasty idol.
If McNasty shaved his beard off, that's what you would have right there. You got to do an impersonation of McNasty with that, Jimmy.
Well,
No. Every story is how did you lose your beard?
That means McNasty has to shave his beard.
But what is the format? So the format is you're moving through the scenes in the movie and you're just having people give their take on it. Did you notice when they were at the gas station, the guy who brings the bucket, and somebody's probably already addressed this, he brings the bucket to the car and he starts washing the window. Every time they start talking again, he comes back. And I relate to that so much.
It's his job.
He's obviously supposed to wash the damn window while people are talking, and they're just fucking up that feng shui. Yeah, no, he's like, no, you really are messing up my rhythm.
I'm going to pay attention to that.
Yeah, he comes back like 3 times.
What's the craziest Halloween memory you have from growing up?
Oh my gosh. We decided it was a good idea, me and my college friend, to go to the oldest cemetery in the county. And we were like, okay, yeah, we've never been there. Let's totally do this. And we did. The myth about this place was you drive there and there's freshly fallen snow and you can see like these footprints coming out of the cemetery if you get there early enough, right? And nobody's been there. And it's really mysterious. Well, yeah, there was no fucking snow. We just decided to go anyway. We're like, well, maybe this is creepy. And we go out there to have a good time. And we show up and the cemetery is really old. And of course, it's filled with like 90% children. And we're like, okay, this is the worst time ever. We have the worst ideas. So we got back in our little Honda, Civic, and a little hatchback, and we're heading back down this rutted out dirt road. Barely, I mean, this car literally has 500,000 miles. And we're listening to the radio the whole time. The only radio station that would make it out in the woods of Kentucky, it started fuzzing out. And I was running my mouth like, oh, we'll find something better to do. I'm trying to like be the happy person here. We didn't totally fuck up our day. That was not depressing at all. And then she goes, shut up. I'm like, what? And I'm hearing, listening to the radio. She said, the radio fuzzed out. I heard a noise. And then it did it again. And what she was hearing, what she had heard the first time when I was talking, it was like this plaintive wail. It sounded like a child crying. And we look at each other like, what the fuck was that? So she punches a little harder. We're heading, going even faster on these dirt roads. We hit another rut. It fuzzes out again, clear as a bell. Mama. Yeah, we kind of broke that car on the way out. It was scary as shit. We made it home. It's fine. We didn't get chased by children. We're fine. Everybody's fine.
No Casper came up and
no, it was definitely a downer being up there, realizing we made a horrible mistake. And then that happened on the way out. And I'm like, I probably won't do that again.
Well, there you go. That's a good question we could continue with is
that's a great Halloween story.
Yeah. Do you have a paranormal story? What happened? Doesn't even have to be on Halloween. Vinny has one.
No, you don't get to. No, Vinny, no.
No, I do. It's a long story.
Let's hear it.
Another episode.
Summary.
It's gonna take it can't.
Does it end up with Vinny getting shot?
No, it ends up with falling getting thrown down the steps and smashing his head on the ground. Yeah.
All right. So do we have anything else to add with her? Can we release her?
You already released.
He said, away with you.
I release you.
What's going on?
I'm chilling. Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was. I'm chilling. How about you?
So how's it going, man? We're glad that you were able to make it in.
It's going pretty good. I actually had my scaling today. I was surprised.
Oh, you did that today. How was it?
I'm surprised. I'm not feeling any pain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. It means your teeth are in good shape.
Yeah.
I did that. I remember doing that one time. It was painful as hell. Well, what we're doing tonight is we're filming our Halloween episode that we're going to run like the weekend before, and we're getting some of the freak out regulars to come in and talk to us for just like 5-10 minutes and ask them some questions about Halloween and stuff. And we're stoked that you were able to come in as well. What we're also going to be doing during this is what we're going to cut into a movie that we're showing, and that movie is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like what Vinny's wearing. And first question we're asking everybody is if you've seen it, when was the first time, and how did it impact you?
First time I ever actually seen the movie was actually in the film Freak Out.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah, before the film Freak Out, I really wasn't really big on horror. But now that I've joined, I'm really into it now. I really enjoy the black and white films, and now I realize that horror, it spans, from zombies to aliens to you name it.
You're expanding your horizons with horror stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. And the way it impacted me, I was pretty impressed with it. What still stands out in my mind the most is 2 scenes. One is where the guy grabs the girl and he hangs her on the
hook.
Yeah, and then the last part, which actually I look at movies and I get ideas. It's gonna sound kind of weird. The guy was I think he was chasing somebody, and the dude turned around and he threw a knife at him, and that's how he ended. I'm like, you know what? It's a good idea to learn knife throwing.
Oh, there you go. Good skill to
save your life.
Yeah, exactly. Save your life.
Exactly. So try to imagine that it's Halloween night. You're at home. For whatever reason, the film Freak Out isn't on tonight, but if you had to pick like 2 horror flicks you wanted to watch, what would those be?
That's a hard pick between the ones now that I've been exposed to. at the freak out. Maybe because it's the first film one of the first films I saw when I joined. The black phone really sticks out.
Right.
I think one of the Quiet Places.
Well, those are good choices. Yeah. And I know that when we showed Black Phone, you were definitely into that. So that's cool that that one stuck with you. But I think it was probably due to run that one again pretty soon.
Yeah.
Definitely.
See, that's the thing with horror movies. I think whichever ones you see for the first time, if there's something going on in your life or depending what era you see it at your age, it will always stick with you. I can always remember the first time I saw Night of the Living Dead or the first time I saw The Creature from the Black Lagoon. It will always resonate with you. And you can watch the movie maybe 1,000 times, but you'll always remember the first time. You'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And we've got so much more to show you. So, yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, tons and tons of stuff. Maybe one day Jimmy will drop by and watch a movie. Maybe.
Probably Star Wars.
He's too cool for us.
I ain't too cool for anything. Please stop it. So EJ, there's a question we've been asking everybody about Halloween when they were kids, maybe, or teenagers. Do you remember an experience you had on Halloween, celebrating it, exploring, stealing candy, whatever we did as kids, that you remember as particularly spooky or creepy?
I can't say it was really spooky or creepy, but I remember when I was probably about somewhere between 5 and 7, my mom used to take me and my sister around, and we went to this, I guess it was my sister's best friend's house, and her cousin was dressed up kind of like a Dracula or something like that, and he was kind of eerie. And what's so strange about it is that this very day, 60-some years of age, he's still alive for the party, so that's what really stuck out with me.
Is there any particular interactions that you've had in your life with things that you would consider supernatural or unexplainable? Paranormal even.
You know what? I really can't say that I've actually experienced anything. I just heard a lot of stories from different people. I would say I trust them because of the fact that the stories just sound too real. If this guy is making it up, then he needs to actually be a horror director himself.
Right.
There's a lot of people who make up stories that are very convincing that never happened. That's for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there also that's inexplicable, things that happen. I'm wondering what Jimmy's experience was.
Probably when the priest tugged on my trousers. That was probably the most supernatural experience.
That was supernatural?
Because he did it without hands.
That's right.
As you can tell, everybody's fucking exhausted. It's been a crazy weekend. We're doing this stuff and just being about as stupid as we possibly can be.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, yeah. No, it was.
Oh, yeah.
EJ, if you could choose one coffee for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Starbucks.
Any particular style or?
Ooh, I mean, it's like a candy shop. It's hard to choose.
I really like all of them.
I'm with you.
What's up, gang?
What's happening? Cool to finally be able to talk to you on here.
Yeah. What's up, gang?
Going on, but we're doing our Halloween episode right now.
And you needed somebody scary.
I assume you're familiar with the film Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
A few times, yes.
A few times. Do you remember the first time you saw it and how that impacted you?
I saw it late. I was in my 40s. I only saw part of it. My life was really crazy. Well, it's still crazy, but it was crazy in a different way then. And so I would see parts of movies, and then it would be like 15, 20 year, 30 year, 40 year gaps where I'd go, I didn't see Star Wars, the whole movie, until I was like 45 or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Jimmy is a major Star Wars.
Yeah.
Jimmy is as well.
I'm sorry, Jimmy.
That's all right. I'll survive. I'm just glad you saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw part of it at one of my niece's weddings, and I was like, what the hell is this? And they said, oh, it's Star Wars. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, I didn't see it originally because Harlan Ellison recommended not to, and I was like, okay, Harlan.
Well, you've definitely been one of the more interesting characters in the Freak Out Hangout over the last several months. I think it's very cool that we got you in there. I know that you play up that you're like an old guy. How old are you actually?
I'm going to be 66 in January.
Okay, well, you're the most youthful 66-year-old guy that I've seen. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I tell my wife that, and she says, just roll over and go back to sleep. You know?
She's heard enough, huh?
Yeah, one of my friends calls me up, and I say, how you doing? And he says, I'm old and ugly. You know,
hardly.
So you guys are working on an album?
Yeah, we are. We just did our annual Halloween party over the weekend, and we're back to recording the album next Saturday. And
so one of the cool things is that my grandson who lives with us, he just started high school, so 9th grade. But at this school, they have audio engineering. And so he's taking band and taking audio engineering, and they couldn't get him in the right class. So they put him in the advanced class. The instructor has him paired up with a senior, and he's going to skip the beginning class, essentially. I thought that's really cool. They have a really nice setup there at the school.
Most people don't go to school for that. So it's more like a school of hard knocks take on that.
Yeah, that's kind of the way computer stuff used to be.
Yeah.
I did that. Taught myself DOS, if you guys remember DOS, and then and then I got involved in Unix, and which is not little guys with high voices, by the way.
I was going to say, I mean, it's been a while, but
it's
we try to stay away from most of it.
Yeah, it's spelled different. I was a Unix sysadmin for a while, and then I went to Intel, and I went over to the dark side and became management for a while, and that didn't last. And so I became a technical writer. And, they just don't have much of a sense of humor. What's wrong with you people? You need prune juice on tap here.
So for this Halloween episode,
okay,
knocked off the first question about what, when you saw Texas Chainsaw. And I don't know if we covered whether that impacted you at all or if it meant anything at the time. Or
the first time that I got to watch it all the way through impacted me. Of course, by then I had been studying screenwriting and some other things like that. And so I was kind of looking at it in terms of how the craft of it, how it was done. I was less interested in the meat hooks and the girl screaming than, although that's a pretty good looking girl screaming there. Be that as it may, that was how I was looking at it. And I was kind of impressed. It was actually pretty well done, I thought. And I looked at it from that aspect in terms of how it was all spun together.
Yeah, no, they did from the ground up. They did a great job with that.
Yeah.
None of those guys had a whole lot of experience other than.
That's how you get it.
Jimmy's been asking people about their Halloween experiences.
I get to ask that question?
Yes, you do.
Oh, no.
It's great to meet you, Myron. So we were just asking people if they had any sort of memories, specifically from maybe your childhood, of something spooky or creepy from a Halloween incident, Halloween night, something you did maybe that resonated when you were a kid.
Oh, from childhood. I guess that cuts out the back of that Camaro. I got to tell you guys, and I've mentioned this, you're at a disadvantage here. And part of the disadvantage is I went out of a truck head first when I was 19. And consequently, I wiped out most of my memories of my childhood and whatnot. And so I constantly have relatives tell me about things that we've done. And I'm like, oh shit, really? I'm like, oh yeah, don't you remember blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. And it's bad when they show you pictures of you and the donkey, but anyway.
So all that memory's been wiped is what you're saying. And
Dude, a lot of it, I'm trying to think of something scary that happened. We did for my 12th birthday, and a lot of my memory of this has been wiped. Like some kid cracked my front teeth in. I don't remember it at all completely. You would think on Halloween you would remember that, right? Mm-hmm. Don't remember it at all. But my dad had a 40-foot trailer because he hauled goods for his stores. He had a small chain of stores, about 7 stores. And we made displays inside there. So I don't know if you've done this, where you take like pantyhose and you dump wet sand in it so it feels like a leg, and you peel grapes for the eyeballs and that type. Yep. So we had a little tour like that through this 40-foot trailer. That's the only thing that I remember of that Halloween. And I have kids that I grew up with. Because I grew up in a small town, stayed there until I left at 18. They tell me things. I'm like, oh, really? I mean, they could tell me really bad things, and I wouldn't know the difference.
We did a funky little haunted house like that with weird plastic bag ghosts and the great eyeballs and all that stuff. And I hadn't even thought about it until you mentioned that. And that was like, I was a little kid when we did that. That's pretty.
Now, this wasn't Halloween, but what I used to do, my sister got her hair cut really short, like Jimmy's hair short almost. I've forgotten why that was, but she did that. And then she decided she wanted to let her hair grow out, and they bought her a wig until her hair grew out, a real human hair wig, which was kind of a big thing in the middle of Podunk, Missouri, right? Yeah. That's it. No. So she left home when I was 12. So I'd go into her room and I would take the wig, right? And I'd take the wig and some paraffin. And I made paraffin fangs, and I had some Halloween makeup stuff, and I made, like the lamb chop things. I made the fangs, and I put her wig on, and I was a werewolf, right? And I'd go out on my bike. This is the friggin' Ozarks, right? And they in the 60s, right? And they looked at me like, I'm sure they were just like, There goes that Porter kid again. God.
What's wrong with that
damn,
boy?
you know? Banana seat and a high handlebar bike puttering around.
I had that same bike. Love that thing.
Hello?
There he is. All right.
Turn it off.
Well, I wouldn't be talking too much.
Well, we're filming for the Halloween special, which will run like the Saturday before Halloween. The film that we're watching tonight is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you remember the first time you saw that, and if you do remember that, you know, what was your take on it?
Well, actually, I don't remember the first time I've seen it, really. I've seen it so many times, but I thought it was a pretty good movie.
So you liked it enough to go back and see it several times. You don't remember if you might have seen it in a drive-in or something? Or
I think I went and seen it with my sister-in-law. She likes stuff like that. She's dead now, but
oh, sorry to hear that.
She was a horror freak. I went to see The Exorcist with her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And happened to drag my wife in there, too. She about pinched my arm off. She never went to a nutting after that. That was it.
Oh, no? Did you take the Ford Fairlane to the drive-in?
Oh, no. No. That car's set for a long time. It's just been running the last 2 or 3 years.
So you let it sit for a while, then you got it going again? And
yeah, I didn't never drive it at first.
Right.
I bought it. I've had it for 32 years.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just sat in the building. I didn't have the money to fix it with at the time. I had to save up money, buy parts.
Right.
Finally got it going. It's drivable now. I can go about anywhere I want to in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm getting close to finishing it.
Very cool. Well, I know Larry was one of the originals from the old Facebook version of the Film Freak.
Yeah.
You dragged along with everybody else from when that got shut down over here. But I remember I originally talked to you when you were in that Eddie's movies. Remember that?
Yeah, he was a nut.
Yeah, that guy got really mad.
Yep.
He went in there and told everybody, he was like, I'm done. We're not going to do these movies anymore. And then so I put up a thing saying, well, you can come over and check out movies with us. And he just lost it. He was like, I'm going to kill every one of you motherfuckers.
Yep, he went off on everybody.
Yeah, no kidding. He definitely went off on me. He sent me all kind of murderous threats. I'm like, dude,
was this before the freak out or?
It was when the freak out was on Facebook.
Okay, yeah.
Another guy, this guy Eddie's movies, and he was doing movies on Fridays just like we were, but he was a little bit crazier.
Yeah,
and,
Eddie Harlow.
Eddie Harlow, yeah. And he used to actually steal the movies that we would make. He would show our versions of. I would go on there and see them. He'd have Cruddy joke movies running in there. It was hilarious.
Jesus.
But then he got real sick, said he wasn't going to do the movies anymore. And so when I offered it to, and I think Larry was there, and I think maybe Martha was there, and that may have also been a connection through the old Svengoolie group. But I said, if you guys want to come over and just watch movies, you know, we're here. And that guy did not like that. He was like, you're trying to steal my people.
I remember that.
Seems like it's been a while now.
It's been a while.
Do you do anything for Halloween there? I mean, do you have any kind of, I know you're kind of a little bit more remote.
No, we don't. I don't do nothing.
No.
Watch movies.
Well, I think Jimmy's got a Halloween question for you, regardless.
Well, what about when you were growing up? Was it a big thing when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we done a lot of trick-or-treating and stuff, yeah.
What was your favorite Halloween memory as a child?
All of them.
Nothing in particular you can think of? Anything spooky or supernatural ever happen?
Well, we used to go to those spook houses and stuff like that. I know we went in there one time, this guy was throwing his broom down at us, and I reached up there and grabbed the broom and jerked him down out of the ceiling.
You had to pay extra for that?
That's awesome.
I went to one of those in West Palm Beach at another place. This was like 1974. I didn't know anything about that stuff. And I had my bicycle, and they're like, yeah, just put your bicycle in this little doorway here and you can walk through. It was put on by this church. And they had all this horrifying people get their legs chopped off and all kind of stuff like that. It was pretty, for a little kid who was like, 8 years old, it was horrifying to me. And then the very last thing you get to, they had like some, well, we're going to offer you a way out of this if you, give up your soul. And I'm like, so I went through all this horror and stuff, and you're trying to convert me right on the spot. And then I went and get my bike, and the bike was gone. I'm like, come on, man. My bike
Jesus stole your hot rod.
My bicycle.
You got it back, though, didn't you?
Never found it yet. I had to go get another one. My mom wasn't happy. She was constantly buying bicycles for me.
I thought maybe they was playing a trick on you.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody there. I probably would have walked around long enough. I've probably seen somebody riding it.
Yeah, I never had no bicycle or nothing stolen like that. I live out in the sticks, so.
Right. Well, that was kind of down to, even though West Palm Beach isn't considered a city. It's got a downtown environment there.
Yeah, we rode horses around here when I was a kid.
Yeah, they had them here in Franklin for about 10 years ago.
So Larry, with all these models that you do, these really cool models you do, is that something new you've been doing? Or have you been doing it ever since you were a kid?
No, ever since I was a kid.
Do you remember your first one?
Been so many of them, I couldn't tell you which one was the first.
But you do the car models and you do like the monster models and the
anything that can be put together, I'll put it together. But mostly, the model. I started with model cars and stuff. I know I built a school bus, that drag school bus. I built one of those great big motorcycles, the cycle, you remember?
Oh yeah.
I think they called it the trike. It was a dragon. I don't know what happened to them. I guess they got busted up or thrown away or whatever.
Yeah, I used to have all the Aurora monster ones, and I put those together, and I think my mom just threw them away when I was looking.
Yeah, I had a bunch of monster ones.
It always fascinated me that anybody could do that kind of stuff because I never had a steady hand. I would try and just smash it together. It just never worked for me. But I would always watch people do it and just be like utterly amazed. Like, how did you do that? Well, I can do it. Okay.
Hey, that Han Solo.
Oh, yeah. Now Jimmy's interested.
I may probably get a third one on later. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. That's Robo Dracula. Oh, that is some good work there, Larry.
You guys remember at all? It was a toy set called the Micronauts.
Yes.
Around the same time as Star Wars. They had a Darth Vader character. His name was Baron Karza.
Yep.
You would shoot bullets out of his chest, but he had that same face. His head would come off as a magnet. You could put his arms in his legs. And
they were white. They were put together with magnets.
Yep. They had a black one, too. But the little guys were the ones that had, like, fan blades and stuff on them. They had lasers and shit.
You could take their.
I had a bunch of them. I think my mom just threw them away. Like, oh, you don't need this.
Yeah, there you go, Gene.
Mr. Scott.
There you go, Gene.
That's a zombie, Scotty. I didn't paint his eyes. It's a zombie.
He's wearing the red one, so his life expectancy is
it's over.
What's our other question for Larry?
Well, we asked about supernatural activity.
Did you ask about supernatural? Or you just asked about Halloween?
And said he told us how he beat up a guy in a haunted house. So have you ever had?
Oh, I didn't beat nobody up. I just pulled him down out of the
I'm paraphrasing. So have you ever had a touch of the supernatural, Larry? You ever run into something you couldn't explain?
Just that picture of my sister. Yeah, it looks just like her. I mean, I'm going to have to put these on so I can see.
Yeah, well, I know the feeling. Well, the hair looks super greasy. Not as greasy as Vinny's hair, though.
Tons of gel.
I got some gel in there. I got some Suavecito in there. Suavecito. It's what the Latinos put in their hair.
I thought you said flock of seagulls.
Yeah, that too.
But
they have a pomade product with the mummy on it. So I'm like, I got to get the mummy because your hair looks like the mummy from the original.
Oh wow.
And you see that?
I do see someone behind.
Now, does that not look like a person, a woman?
It absolutely does, yes.
Her hair is parted in the middle. That's the way my sister wore her hair. And it looks like she's got her arms around my neck.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, that's a legit...
yeah, she was killed in a car wreck, trailer.
Sorry about that, man.
That was back in 95.
And when's the picture from? That's wild.
It's probably Christmas time, 95, I guess. Either 95 or 96.
It was right then, huh?
Well, she got killed in March of 95. I fell off the house in January of 95.
Wow. So that's a rough stretch there.
Yeah, it's a rough year right there.
Yep.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
I had 8 operations on that leg.
Is that the same leg you're dealing with now?
Yeah.
Well,
another thing we used to do, we used to go sit in the graveyard when we got drunk, too. And this other friend of mine.
Well, that's always fun. We'll take Vinny out to the graveyard dressed like the best.
Yeah.
I can't go in a graveyard down the street here. That's scary. It's right in the middle of the hood. It's my favorite graveyard, but it's... Yeah. There's one graveyard in Baltimore. That's where, oh my God, can't believe I can't remember the name. The guy who shot Lincoln. That's where he's buried.
Oh, Herman Melville. Yeah.
Yes. They put John Wilkes Booth in the river.
That's right.
Look at this. Now, let's see if you can click the thing.
Click the button.
No.
Oh my God, he's got animals there.
I do.
He's got a crazy beard now. Well, welcome to what we're filming right now is the completely disorganized Halloween special. So how's it going, David?
Oh, me. It's going fine for me.
So what is that background there? Is that a taper?
Oh, hold on. Let me get out of frame.
Oh, it's an elephant.
Yes, I thought elephant and seal. I don't know. I'm silly. You guys know that.
Well, that's a crazy looking shirt. Have you been following the dead?
So I have a friend who lives in Richmond who makes tie-dye shirts. She made my sister some yoga pants.
We're going to be showing the movie, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so far, everybody we've talked to has given us their take on when they first saw that movie and how it affected them. Do you remember the first time you saw it?
Ooh, I don't. Not the first time. Sorry. I've seen it many times.
Sure. Anytime that you watched it and it affected you at all?
I think the honest answer to that is every time. I mean, a chainsaw, it's just such a break from other weapons that you use. I mean, the other weapons are horrific, but a chainsaw? We have a sort of Chamber of Horrors type live thing we do every year here in Virginia Beach. Now, these are not actual chainsaws. They're the sort of leaf blowers that sound really loud like chainsaws.
Right.
But they know who to go for. They go right for the people who are screamers. Perfect. Oh, they're like, ah! Like, you know, it's great because everybody's getting scared a little bit, you know. So when they see other people jumping and, you know, screaming and all that.
We're asking a couple of the same questions of everybody here. One of them, it's Halloween night. You're just hanging out by yourself and you get to pick what you're going to watch. What 2 movies is it?
You know, I like seeing anything that's new on Halloween. I know it's not much of an answer for you because it's not a specific movie. I would like to see new movies on Halloween because it's Halloween. I want to be surprised.
So you don't have a traditional thing going. You're like, you want to see?
No, not on Halloween. No, but in October, we often show very traditional movies every October, and I'm all about that. Trust me, I'm all about seeing the same thing every October. I mean, you guys know I like showing movies that are different and kind of out there, and let's face it, kind of weird. I do. I get it. I do. I know.
He dedicates an entire evening to bad taste. So
he does. And you know what? I think that's awesome because I've noticed that people stick around just to make fun of his movies. Oh,
it's evolved into 2 different Halloween questions. So
yes.
You can choose which one you think suits you the best. So we've been asking people if they have a particular spooky memory of either a childhood or adolescent Halloween that they wanted to share.
I've already answered that in my previous interview, but I'll repeat it if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, please. So mine, I got completely freaked out when I was a kid, and I sneaked out of my house, and I said this in an earlier interview. I went to a community center, and I watched The Blob, the original. I was just like freaking my shit, okay? I was, 7 or 8 years old, and I was like, ah! You're so immediate when you're a kid, but I couldn't stop watching it. It was like one of those train wreck kind of things.
That's a good story. So when you started it, then it dawned on me. The
Blob was just, I just wasn't ready for that at that age. And there was no one there to like hold my hand or guide me. But, what can I say? It's a rite of passage.
What have you experienced in the supernatural realm that you could not explain? Yes.
In the interest of partial transparency, I'm pagan, so right. Yes, I'm open to some things that most people are not. I interrupted you, so what's the rest of your question?
Well, just to relate something that I think what I'm most interested in is something you've encountered that you to this day can't explain.
I guess the answer to that is I felt inspired to do things that I normally am not inspired to do, and then they turned out to be the correct course of action.
So you felt like you were steered somehow, or?
Yes. I do. And I don't know where it came from or what it means. And sometimes I feel like I've gotten signs or omens or whatever you want to call them. And again, I can't say where it came from or what it means, but I just simply guided my actions accordingly. That's not very sexy, but I mean,
Well, Jimmy's was sexy, and I asked him, and he didn't give an answer. But Jimmy, I'm just going to have to, tell a little story here that you told me a long time ago, and you're afraid to talk about, but
don't do it, Benny.
He was using a Ouija board, and he contacted Terry Schiavo, and he got a Hummer, and that's all I'm gonna say.
You rattled the board.
I had to throw that in there somewhere.
You had a Ouija Hummer.
Get your vegetables, Benny.
From Terry Schiavo. That's all I got. Too many beers.
I have like maybe 3 Ouija boards. One of them glows in the dark, by the way.
Jimmy's Ouija board glows when you put a black light on it. It's like
semen. Oh, that kind of black light.
When you do a luminol test on it. If somebody wanted to check out paganism, what would you recommend? Where would you send them?
It's a good question. I would say there's nothing wrong with going through the internet, but don't just trust one website or book or whatever avenue you're going through. Use a widespread thing and say, this part resonates with me. And then kind of follow that resonance. I'm more of a Druid, or I'm more of Wicca, or I'm more a Satru, the Vikings. Whatever it is that you kind of drift toward, people also evolve on their path, and they also kind of get eclectic. So they take, it's kind of like the smorgasbord. You kind of take this and that and the other thing, and then sometimes they just become their own amalgam. So we are an earth-centered faith system, and there are aspects of it that believe in a Sky Father and an Earth Mother.
Are you guys speaking? I can't hear any of you guys. Ah, there we go. Now
I'm fucking with you, man.
You.
We're having a good time.
Oh, wow. So I'm getting visited by monsters tonight. Yeah.
Hello, Robert. Just a couple days after the horror hootenanny, and Bob was there.
Yeah. It's great.
Live and in person.
Yep.
Tell us what you thought of the event, Bob.
Oh, I loved it. Friday, I mean, just all of us getting together was great. That was a lot like last year, but, having the extra bonus of that show, seeing you guys in a live setting, which I've never seen, and the Forbidden Dimension guys.
So we're watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What your thoughts were on that? When was the first time you saw it, and how it impacted you when you first saw it?
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think I saw when I was probably about 10. And it was one of those that one of the few horror movies my mother saw. And so she warned me not to watch it. So, of course, I have to see it. And when I did watch it, I noticed right away it wasn't like as overly gory as the title would imply. But there was something really wacky about it, I just couldn't put my finger on. But I've seen it like a million times over the years, and it's just...
What are your two go-to Halloween night horror flicks?
Halloween night, I tend to go with Universal, or even Hammer. I tend to go, for Halloween, I like to go a little classic, Usually when it comes to Universal, I'll go with like Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. That one seems very Halloween-y for sure.
You just love that guy singing that song.
Oh, I do. I love that. And then as far as Hammer, this is going to be weird. That Dracula 72 AD.
Bob, what's the spookiest Halloween you remember as a kid?
I don't know how old I was, 9 or 10. It was really crappy out. It was raining, and I didn't have a costume. I don't know if you call this creepy, but it was very stressful, and I was all sad and didn't think I'd get to trick or treat. But digging around in the basement, I did find a Wolfman mask, and as a last ditch attempt, I went out in the rain with it. I guess maybe not creepy, but that really stands out as, like for my Halloween that almost was.
Scrambling for a costume, that's never fun.
Have you had something creepy happen in your life, or that you have observed that you could pass off to being paranormal?
That you can't understand.
Yes, I guess, even though I feel weird about talking about it. This would be... Because in general, I don't really believe in that, in those kinds of things, but it's difficult to explain it any other way. But this will be the first time I've ever told anyone. So
exclusive.
You're getting it right here. I'll try to make it short too, because for 2 Sundays, my parents sent me to a Sunday school. I only went twice. I'm probably about 6 years old. During these classes, there was this old lady. She wasn't the teacher. She was just some old lady that was hanging around the classroom with us. Nobody acknowledged her. Nobody said anything to her. You got to keep this in mind. Teacher takes us out to a different part of the school, and we're all playing. And then it's like, all right, it's time to go back to class. So everybody goes back to class. For some weird ass reason, I stay behind. I don't want to go back to class with them, but I get lost. And I'm wandering through these halls. And then finally the teacher finds me. She's, where have you been? Well, come here. And she grabs my hand and leads me back to the classroom. So I'm walking down the hall holding her hand, and it seems like we are walking for an incredibly long amount of time. And then finally I hear, "Hey, Bob, where are you going?" And I look around, and about, 50 feet behind me, the teacher is standing by the classroom door like, where are you going? And I'm like, well, wasn't I holding her hand? So I look up, and it's the old lady that was hanging around the classroom. And she smiles at me, and I'm like, I just let go of her hand and run back to the classroom. I thought that was really weird. I'm sure there's maybe some way to explain that away, but I always thought the old lady was like a ghost of that school or whatever, because nobody saw her or acknowledged her or said anything to her.
It may have been. That's a good story.
You touched a ghost.
That's probably the best story we've had.
Yep.
Definitely.
You want to know something else that's really scary, though?
Is she behind you? Oh.
You finished.
They're all gone. They're all gone.
They're all
What's
gone.
the serving size on that? How many calories was that?
Oh, boy.
Okay, I don't know what the hell just happened there, but we're good to go now. If you can hear me, that is, then we know we're good to go. Or if I can hear you. Okay.
What's going on, man?
Hey, just good times. Good times.
We scared him. He was terrified.
Yes, I was disturbed. I didn't think the audio was working. I was terrified. And Vinny, if you're talking, I can't hear anything. But
Wait. Try and say here.
Yeah.
I like the Zorg looking style you got going there with your hair. That's
Well,
nice stuff.
shit. And then he's filming a Godzilla movie over there. So what we're doing here is we're going to show the film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We're going to cut these bits into the movie. So we're talking about the movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, while we're doing this. And we're talking about Halloween. Your segment, I assume we're this far into it, will probably be towards the climax of the movie.
Okay.
So, yeah, Jimmy's climaxing right now.
Yeah, I know, right? She's having a good time.
I just
Don't
did.
take much.
Do you recall the first time you saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how you felt about it afterwards?
Well, yeah. So when I was a kid, we used to go to it wasn't even Blockbuster yet. It was a smaller video store. And so my dad and I would go up there and go rent, stupid movies and everything. And that came out, and we got that one night because we watched all the worst covers ever. And that's the ones we would get and everything. So this would have been 1980, somewhere like 84, maybe 82, 84. It was awesome because that's, Faces of Death was out. We were watching stuff like that. So this just fit right in with it.
So you were checking off the stuff you've heard of but hadn't seen to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how every single person that we've talked to and we asked if they can remember a date, it was like 1984, 1985.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I just one afternoon, every weekend we'd go and get a couple of them, and just terrible movies, and he was always cringy. He goes, "Hey, let's go to this section." It was all the really cheesy ass, horror films and everything were on there. And so, we had to, get one or two of those every time we came in. So he had a lot of patience, I guess.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome that you had a parent that took you to see those flicks. I sure didn't. I mean, my parents did when I was a little kid, but I was on my own very early when it came to that shit.
My dad, actually, we went to go see Terminator, the first film, and we liked it so much that we snuck and stayed in the theater, watched it, again.
I'll be back.
And then again.
I'll be back.
We watched it 3 times in one day.
Oh, my God.
I'll be back.
My dad was good camouflage. What, this guy couldn't be breaking the law or anything.
Right.
The last film I saw with my parents, as parents take you to was when Porky's came out. Stepdad wanted to see Porky's.
Wow.
Yeah,
there was so much dick pulling and vagina and stuff in that movie. And that was it. That was the last time I went to the movies with my parents. I went to see Dances with Wolves with my mom because she wanted to go and nobody would go with her. I'm like, I'll go with you. And we saw a 3.5-hour Dances with Wolves at the Cinema Cafe.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No. That's terrible.
Jimmy loves that movie. It's just like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah. It's almost exactly the same.
It's basically the same story. It's the same story.
Melting Nazis. There's no melting Nazis in it.
Well, ask him your question, Jimmy.
So, Paul, first of all, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Nobody has.
We've been asking all of our guests that we've talked to 2 questions. The first one is, when you were growing up, do you have any distinct memories of Halloween that have stuck with you or that formed your opinion about this amazing holiday?
Well, it's funny. I guess the first thing that pops in my head was the big scare about razor blades and shit in their candy in the 80s. I mean, they acted like this happened all the time, everywhere, constantly. And the reality is it was mostly an urban legend and may or might not never, ever happened. People were scared shitless. And you could take your candy to the police station and they would x-ray it and shit looking for stuff. I don't know if you guys had that happen, but it was they just scared us into thinking something terrible was going on. You know what? That's the first thing I guess I think about. And then 2, I don't know, just it was a really good opportunity for us to all run around and, toilet paper people's houses, egg people's houses. There wasn't a whole lot of supervision, at least for like when I was a kid. My parents both worked, and I think the saying was, when you're a teenager you were 30, and now that you're 50 you're still 30 if you're from that generation. So yeah, just going out, act like we're going trick-or-treating and everything, and just going and being the kind of people I would kick their ass now if I saw them on the street, basically.
Right. You'd run them over with your hot rod.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite holidays. Just have a really good time. It's not as entertaining now because I just.
But no endearing moment like that was like pinnacle of Halloween for me. Like you walked up on somebody's porch and a guy jumped out of a coffin, scared the shit out of you, and you're like, holy shit, this is what Halloween's all about.
Well, I mean, okay, there were some people in my neighborhood that got really into it and everything, but by and large, it was more of a chance for us to, all the guys would get together and we, on the pretense of going trick or treating and then go do things we weren't supposed to be doing.
You went go wilding in the streets. Yeah,
which we pretty much did all the time anyway.
The streets of Katy, Texas.
This was
I was going to say
Texas, we were big time back then.
But it was Texas. It wasn't like like where I grew up. Every other year there was a blizzard, that would have struck Halloween.
Yeah,
sucks. So I don't know why we had that problem.
I don't know why we haven't discussed this previously, but Jimmy has one of the weirdest goddamn Halloween traditions, or did when his kids were younger. You got to let people know what it was that you did after trick or treating was done. Jimmy.
It wasn't weird. It was I was trying to teach my children something.
It seemed weird to me.
Teach your children well.
We would sort and separate and then weigh all the candy. And then year over year, we would compare the different categories to see that the premium candies increase or decrease. And then we would see, is that a bellwether for the economy? Can we then understand where the economic headwinds are heading based on the number of Kit Kats we got in 2008 versus 2007?
Yeah, that is pretty fucked up. Having said that, though, you really could, when there were, there weren't any cell phones or anything, but people knew where the good candy was. Like the people that are giving out like full-size bars or shit, everyone would go hit that area. It was word of mouth. And,
my favorite is that these drug dealers are putting drugs in the candy.
Yeah.
Because that's what drug dealers want to do, is give away candy or give away drugs. They definitely don't want to sell it. They want to give it away.
That's
I had an apartment where we had
newspaper.
We kept a big pumpkin head and we collected Taco Bell hot sauce all year, and that's what we gave out on Halloween. Now, if you were sitting around, it was Halloween night, you'd have shit going on, the kids are gone, and Home Freakout's over, and you had time to watch 2 horror flicks. Halloween night, what are those 2 flicks going to be?
Well, we always watched the Amityville Horror, and I don't remember what year that came out, and I want to say it was
79, right? Yeah.
79, okay. So that was always a gimme. And then the other one's kind of a weird one. It was, I don't even remember what the name of the film, but it had these bugs that would like catch on fire. And they invaded. What's it?
It's called Bug.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That movie used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. So it was kind of a joke later on. So we watched that every year.
That's like one of William Castle's last movies, right?
I mean, it's terrible. I've seen it fairly recently. I was like, why was I so freaked out about that? But when I was a kid,
a lot of
yeah.
A lot of them are like that.
Excellent movie.
Well, those are good. Nobody else has said either one of those.
Yeah, those are good call.
This is not limited to Halloween, but have you experienced any inexplicable supernatural stuff?
Okay, so this one's a weird one. I don't know if it's probably kind of boring and everything, but I had a friend of mine that, unbeknownst to me, had taken a whole bunch of pills, and she was, basically dying in her apartment. And I heard an audible voice tell me to go and check. I swear to you, I was at work, and I went over there to her house, and she went answering the door, and I was fixing to break a window to get into her apartment when her roommate showed up, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. And so I went in there and checked. Sure enough, she had like Tylenol pills fucking everywhere, and and I got her to the hospital, and she survived that. So, but I heard an audible voice telling me to go see her. So that's the, I don't know. It's either I had done way too many psychedelics at the time or something. But I mean, I literally turned around and was looking at the guy I was working with, like, "Hey, did you just say that, or what is so?" That I know that sounds totally crazy, but oh shit, I forgot. I have a great story for Halloween. I totally fucking forgot.
Come on, let's hear it.
All right. So my dad, his friend gave him this Van de Graaff generator, and it was a pretty good sized ball on this thing. It's, pretty good sized sphere on it, and it had a vacuum clean motor on it. And the thing was just bad news. And that fucker, if you left it running, and we leave it on the porch after hours. People shouldn't be knocking on your door at that time. But we leave this fucker running, and that motherfucker would arc on you. I mean, that thing would arc like 3 feet away and shock the crap out of you. I mean, it was bad. Like, my mom wouldn't let us play with it with the dog in the room because she was scared it would hurt her. It was incredible because it had this little defect on one side of the sphere, and man, oh man, you get close to that thing and it was going to arc on you. So that I forgot about it. It was so fun, like hearing people scream when that thing would go off. Totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Hello, this is Martha, Gory Marty. Gino has asked me to do a video for the Halloween event. He asked me questions, 2 favorite Halloween movies. It's obvious it's Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. He asked me how I feel about TCM. It's awesome. I like Leatherface. I love the kills. I like the gritty pace of the first and second one. He's asked me if I ever had like a supernatural incident like ghosts and stuff. Nope, I haven't. My favorite Halloween memory was when I was 7 or 8 and my dad took me out trick-or-treating. I dressed up in a flight suit, pretended to be an astronaut. Okay, as an extra to the video, I'm gonna show you some of my Halloween decorations. The tree. Try and light it up. There we go. Hope you enjoy.
So, my favorite Halloween movies. Riley and I really like The Nightmare Before Christmas because of the soundtrack. So we watch that every year, but then we watch that year round, so technically I'm not sure if it's a Halloween favorite. My daughter and I are going to either watch Practical Magic or The Witches of Eastwick. Later on in the evening, I will probably join my friends at a cast party when it's midnight or 1 a.m. for me. And either Gino, Vinny, David, Sizzle Daddy, Bob, or even Bo will play a movie, and I'll try to watch it and not fall asleep. How do I feel about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? If I never ever saw it again, I would not be unhappy. I really don't get the hype around that film. Don't get it. I don't like it. Don't get it. I don't like it. Don't get it. I don't like it. It's awful. Supernatural incidents? Sure. Yeah, of course. Favorite Halloween memory is working in a haunted house for a fundraiser for the Vietnam Veterans of America. When I was a teenager, it was this big labyrinth haunted house, and when you got to the end, there was a cemetery and dry ice, and I got to jump out from behind a gravestone and do jump scares. It was great up until the night somebody brought a black light in, and then it was my undergarments glowing, which didn't really scare anybody, but we got rid of the black light. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys have a happy Halloween, and I'll talk to you in the cast party.
Halloweeners and weenettes, Dragomir here, and today I'm going to talk about TCM. No, not the toxic cookie monster, which apparently is a thing. Not traditional Chinese medicine, although if I was, I'd tell you it's been around for over 2,000 years. No, I'm talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all of its really fun and awesome sequels, all the way up until the most recent Netflix Chainsaw Massacre that we all know everybody in the horror community absolutely loved. But especially Jimmy. But especially Jimmy's mom. She's a whore. Ha ha! That's right. So strap in, put on a pot of coffee, because this is going to take a while. We're going to go in depth into every single movie. Hello? Who's there? Someone's at the door. Who is that? Lee. Lee who? Thurface. Alright, come on in. Oh no! Lee Thurface! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Halloween Ends was really good. Oh no! No!
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
There you go. Can you see me there? And my creeping cruds.
Look at that. Look at that hair. That mane. So when was the first time you saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and how did it impact you in the beginning?
Man, I was probably a teenager. I want to say I saw it on regular TV, probably cut out all the gore and everything. Not that there's a terrible lot of gore, really. But it actually was pretty scary. The van scene is what really got me. That's what hooked me. When they pick up the hitchhiker and they're having a good old conversation, well, weird conversation. and you think everything's cool. And then dude, starts getting crazy on him and he breaks out the knife and he cuts, is it Franklin? Is that the, and he cuts his hand, and that wigged me out, man. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And from then on, I was hooked. And of course, Franklin, even though he's like a weak link character, and I know a lot of people hate him because he whines and stuff, but it's just the fact that he's in the situation he's in, that everyone's kind of got to look out for him, I think that really added to it, him being in a wheelchair and everything.
Franklin is a great character, and that movie couldn't exist without him. So around what year was it you saw that?
Man, it was probably 80s, somewhere in the 80s, because I was still like a teenager. So
that's basically all of us so far. The same, similar early to mid 80s experience with that flick. If you were just put yourself, it's Halloween night and you're hanging out and Film Freakout's not on for whatever reason tonight, but if you had to pick 2 flicks that you're going to watch on Halloween, what would those be?
Probably Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and if they're like actual Halloween themed movies, I do like Satan's Little Helper, Jeff Lieberman, who did Squirm and Blue Sunshine. I love that one, even though it's you can tell it's digital, in the digital age, but I still have a soft spot for that. I mean, Trick or Treat is good, the anthology one. Of course, Trick or Treat with all the rock stars, and it's pretty cool too. I don't know, off the top of my head, I'm going to say those two. I'm going to say Trick or Treat and Season of the Witch.
Awesome. Well, those are good choices.
Think back to your glorious childhood days, preteen, maybe. Halloween, any memories of either something spooky or creepy that you did or encountered?
Oh, man, favorite one was probably my buddy Ricky. He was my best buddy. He lived a few blocks away. He and his dad were just amazing artists. They're both gone now, but just amazing guys. And Ricky's dad was like this amazing wood carver, sculptor, painter, everything. And of course, we were both artists, and so it was just awesome to hang out with him. He did this thing for Ricky. I think the way I met Ricky actually was, I might have met him at at school, and I think he might have had his Halloween mask on that his dad made. His dad made paper mache Halloween masks, and not just like paper mache, like a little thing you stick on your face. He actually made a wire frame that would fit around your head, custom made wire frame. And it was the alien. Dang it, I don't remember the name of the movie. It's the one with the huge bug eyes, and you can see the brain. The green guy. It's like from the 50s or whatever, 50s or 60s.
This Island Earth.
Hold
Probably.
on, Vinny's got one.
He's got it.
Exactamundo.
Yeah.
He had that mask on,
nice.
paper, fully painted, hand sculpted and everything. And anyways, of course, I was like, oh, you're the coolest dude in the world, And then he invites me over and says, he says, my dad will make our masks. And he's like, and his dad was like, you can draw the monster and I'll make it. And so we got to come up with our own monsters, and he made masks. And so there was basically 2 years in a row we did this. The first year I came up with this green monster. He had a sort of, not a beak so much, but a sort of pointed mouth. And he had these weird antler things, because of course when you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to make something scary, and the monster makes no sense, So it had like antlers, and it was green, but it was like reptilian with antlers. So Yeah, that made a lot of sense. He made them somewhat articulated, like the mouth would open up a little bit.
Right.
And I want to say that one had a brain in the back, and he put like lights in it, and it would like LEDs. And this is like way before you could do this stuff. Like, I don't know how he did it, man, but it had lights in it, and it lit up. I don't know where a battery was in there or what, but I guess there was. But anyways, this thing lit up. It was super cool, and we were the coolest kids, going around. And I can't remember what his was, but it was just so awesome because we got to draw it. And of course, he would help us with the wire frame. And then he taught us how to lay on the paper mache, strip by strip and dip it in the flour and everything. So that was cool. But I know you don't only one story, but I'm going to go with the next year that we did it again because there's a funny story to this. We made our second mask, and I think he made one from our brother too. He let him design one. But anyways, me and Ricky, we were getting impatient. His dad had wanted to do it all with us, but his dad was at work. And so we thought we would do it ourselves. I don't know why Ricky did this, but we were in the basement. He had this really cool basement. One of the few houses that actually had a basement I've ever been in, and that was in Virginia. And anyways, it's the stupidest thing, but Ricky goes, "Hey, I got some water from a pipe." Like we couldn't go to the sink. I don't know why he was insistent on getting this dripping water from a pipe. So basically we made paper mache and put it all on our mask, and it was piss water coming out of a pipe. So we're covering our whole mask with nothing but piss paper mache. And his dad goes home and finds out, like, what the hell were you kids thinking, And Ricky just wanted so much to do it, without his dad, I guess to show that he could do it without his dad's help or something. And so basically the dad had to tear off all this, dried piss paper off the wire mask, and we had to start from scratch all over again. So that was pretty fun, man. And those were probably my two favorite Halloweens because of that, just getting to make those masks. We got to make our own monsters and bring them to life.
Well, those are good stories,
awesome.
Definitely.
Fuck yeah.
The bad adult Halloween stories, I don't know, those are a little sketchy and they might put me in a little trouble. So
release you.
Oh man, I gotta get a mask.
She's not falling for it.
Well, hello again.
Love you.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Cranking them out.
Great.
I like your shirt.
I know,
Thanks.
right?
Oh,
It's awesome.
I don't know if Vinny told you, but we're filming our Halloween special now. We're filming segments that will be cut in the middle of a film that we're showing, which is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know you've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre probably a million times.
Yep. That one I remember.
Do you remember when you saw it the first time and how it affected you?
The first time? Jeez, I think that was a long ass time ago. Tell you the truth, it didn't scare me. I love fucking horror movies, so you know what I mean? I didn't get like all freaked out about it.
Were you inspired to be like, yeah, I want to go see that again? Or did it just feel like any other movie?
Definitely. Yeah, it's one of the movies I keep watching over and over. So
yeah, I was going to say, so we've been asking everybody about Halloween traditions when they were kids, and I assume you had probably a different experience than most of the people here that we've talked to who grew up in the U.S.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't start Halloween until after I left a lot. You know what I mean? So there was no Halloween. We had like a thing in February where everybody got dressed up and scared out the winter spirits, but that was about it. Yeah, we didn't have no Halloween in October and nothing like that. So, but they do now, from what I heard.
Yeah,
I'm just learning this. Where are you originally from?
Germany.
How do you know this?
Oh, you didn't even know that?
Yeah, it's only been mentioned like 9 million times.
I was gonna say, I don't bullshit when I say stuff.
Right. That's one way to know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read.
Oh, that's true.
From Baltimore.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's true. He's Baltimore Public Schools.
Right.
Where did you grow up in Germany, Dave? What was the name of the town or the city that you grew up in?
Erlangen.
Erlangen? Where is that?
Erlangen. It's like 20 minutes north of Nuremberg. You know where Nuremberg? Yeah, Nuremberg, the Nuremberg trials and all that. Yeah, I grew up around a lot of history.
What about the other question we've been asking our guests? Can you think of a time when you experienced something supernatural or that you couldn't explain how it happened or why?
Well,
spooky, supernatural.
We used to have a girl living in our house in Michigan. So her name was Sarah. My kids even saw her running around outside in the yard and tipping my daughter's bed upside down. And oh yeah, I heard it. I mean, it was all there.
Did you never directly had contact with this entity?
I did the pendulum questioning, thing because I wanted to know where she came from. And she gave me, I kind of know her story about how she got killed by her relatives and how somewhere now our yard. And she had a little locket, and she lost that locket, and it's by these group of trees at my house. Well, now it's not my house anymore, but yeah, we were thinking about digging it up, but it would be kind of weird to go back there and fucking start digging in other people's yards.
Probably, yes. Right.
So, yeah.
That's generally frowned upon.
Yeah, so, but no, everybody moved out and it stopped.
So if you were stuck home on Halloween night and you didn't have the freak out or you didn't have anything else going on, but you could pick 2 movies to watch, what would they be?
Well, I would have to go with Season of the Witch. I know, and you guys don't like that movie.
Oh, everybody does.
You do? You like him, Vinny? Oh,
yeah, no, everybody likes that movie. It's excellent.
I fucking dig it. I mean, a lot of people, and probably a Rob Zombie movie. I would.
Okay, you lost me there.
Halloween. Yeah.
The House of Thousand Corpses is good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I watched that the other day.
Well, the hell that Vinny showed the other night, my God, I forgot.
Oh, God, it was awful.
31.
It was horrible.
What was he thinking? Did he just have you just got paid by Shudder or somebody to make a bad movie?
Who knows? I mean, so D, I've got to relay a message. You totally made Tiffany's day, but your compliments to her. She was just like beaming. Yeah,
really? Why?
Yeah. She was like, that was so sweet. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Nice.
I'm like, but so yeah. So D approached me at the Hootenanny in the mask. I'm like, who's looking at me? It's gotta be D.
She was kind of standing there looking back and forth, and it's like, I don't think you knew who I was either, right, Gene?
I knew who it was, and then I said,
okay.
I told Vinny, I'm like, you know who that is, right? And
that's right. Yeah, you did say that after. Yeah.
I thought it was Fan.
It's not allowed. Not allowed there.
It's so interesting that they didn't have Halloween in Germany in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? I mean, now all of a sudden it's a thing. I mean,
yeah, it's a thing. People get dressed up and do the candy thing and all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
you're allowed to dress up and go trick or treating now. As a matter of fact, every adult is allowed to dress up and go trick or treating. Now, because they chose to stay young instead of grow old.
Exactly.
They chose.
That's right.
Exactly.
Okay, trick or treat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, a trick or treat for beer.
Here's mine.